To the Moon. This game came out in 2011 and even after more than 12 years continues to impress new fans every day. Gameplay wise, it is very simple with nothing much to speak about, but it is the story that really sells it. And it was so popular that in 2018 an animated movie based on the game was announced, but so far it doesn't seem to have made much progress yet. The game itself is still quite active and it has found a new audience on Nintendo Switch, and all of that on the strength of its story. It's not possible for me to do justice to the story by trying to summarize it in such a short video, but if you haven't played the game yet, it is worth a try just for the story. The easiest way to describe it is that it is like the movie Inception, where the concept is to implant an idea in someone's head and think that the idea was their own. The difference here is that the person in whose head you have to implant the idea actually wants that idea to be implanted because that is his dying wish. That character's name here is Johnny. He's an old man on his deathbed and he needs to be convinced that he has fulfilled his lifelong dream of going to the moon. This is done by two scientists who are the two playable characters. They work for a company that has perfected the technology to create artificial memories. Again, trying to go deeper into the story from this point would take up too much time, so let me just stick to the opening moments of the game where you get a feel for the gameplay. The two scientists, Dr. Watts and Dr. Rosalind, arrive at Johnny's house or mansion, and from their initial banter, you can immediately sense that these two have been working together for a long time and they are really close friends. They go up to the house and meet Lily, the caretaker, and her two kids. They are then taken up to meet Johnny and told about his last wish, and although they are a bit surprised, they say that it is not impossible. They can actually convince him that he was on the moon. At this point, you are given a choice of who you want to play as primarily, and the game kicks off into its actual gameplay loop. It's not a long game, you can easily finish it within 3 to 4 hours depending on how comfortable you are with puzzle games and whether you want to finish any of the side stories as well. The game looks really simple and you can tell from the text boxes and other design elements that this was not made by a huge team. But we have to remember that this was made all the way back in 2011 when tools for smaller teams who were making games were not so powerful, and the tools that we now take for granted like Unity and an Unreal Engine were a bit more expensive back then. So it is quite inspiring that you don't really need fancy tools or really beautiful assets to make a memorable game. To the Moon proves that if you have a good story and have the confidence to convey it using even a simple tool like RPG Maker, then there's nothing stopping you from making an excellent game that people will remember for years to come.